Considered an organized crime syndicate by many, Hells Angels is an outlaw motorcycle club whose members typically ride Harley-Davidsons. So naturally, this club is always on the radar of law enforcement agencies. So what happens when a detective finds a member of this club who is actually dying? Will they cut him some slack or get what they want by hook or by crook? This video is about a nice middle-class boy, George Atkin, who became a member of Hells Angels, and then the highest-ranking member of the Hells Angels to shake hands with the law. George Atkins, a middle-class boy from the heart of the city, always had a bit of scrappiness to him. As a teenager, he made a name for himself as the go-to bouncer, working the doors of local bars and clubs. His tenacity caught the eye of a former British Royal Marine, a man who saw potential in the young Atkins. Under the mentorship of his Marine mentor, George quickly ascended the ranks in the world of security, earning the reputation of a natural in the field. By the tender age of 21, he found himself standing guard as a bodyguard for Toronto's business and media elite. His skill set was refined, his instincts sharp, and his dedication unwavering. However, George harbored a passion that transcended the corporate corridors and high-end events. The thrill of the open road and the hum of a motorcycle engine called out to him. Despite his high-profile security career, George found solace and excitement on two wheels. It was during one of his motorcycle adventures that George stumbled upon another world, the world of the Hells Angels. Drawn to the camaraderie, the sense of freedom, and the unmistakable aura of rebellion that surrounded the club, George decided to join their ranks. The middle-class boy with a stable career in security was about to dive headfirst into a subculture that thrived on the edges of society. As George became a part of the Hells Angels, his life took a dramatic turn. The security suits were replaced with the iconic leather vests adorned with the club's insignia. The polished professionalism of his past career gave way to the raw, unfiltered existence of the biker lifestyle. During his tenure within the notorious Hells Angels motorcycle gang in downtown Toronto, George Atkins ascended to a position of authority and responsibility within their ranks. His unwavering dedication and unwavering commitment to the club earned him the prestigious title of Sergeant-at-Arms, a role that carried immense weight and power within the organization. George Atkins' tenure within the Hells Angels in Toronto was characterized by a tumultuous mix of rebellion, adrenaline, and criminal exploits. As he took the helm of the notorious motorcycle gang, he immersed himself in a lifestyle that epitomized the outlaw image of the Hells Angels. In the midst of the bustling streets of Toronto, George found himself entangled in scrapes, fueled by the adrenaline of the outlaw biker life. The expansive roads surrounding the city became his domain, and his Harley-Davidson, aptly named Sweet Coke, thundered along the highways, echoing the rebellious spirit that defined the Hells Angels culture in the area. However, with the thrill came the shadows of criminality. George's rap sheet told a gritty tale of his exploits. Arrests for drunk driving, assaults with deadly weapons, kidnapping, drug dealing, racketeering, and a series of charges that painted a vivid picture of a life lived on the fringes of the law. The outlaw lifestyle George embraced had consequences, and his encounters with law enforcement resulted in stints behind bars, particularly for drug-related offenses. Over the following decades, the Hells Angels, under George's helm and beyond, solidified their reputation as a notorious outlaw gang within Toronto's criminal landscape. The motorcycle club became synonymous with a culture of rebellion, criminal enterprises, and a code of silence that shielded its members from the law. Outposts within the city and its surroundings marked the influence and presence of the Hells Angels. Over the following decades, the Hells Angels, under George's helm and beyond, solidified their reputation as a notorious outlaw gang within Toronto's criminal landscape. The motorcycle club became synonymous with a culture of rebellion, criminal enterprises, and a code of silence that shielded its members from the law. Outposts within the city and its surroundings marked the influence and presence of the Hells Angels. George's involvement in the gang during this era encapsulated the darker side of the Hells Angels' legacy, a legacy stained with violence, criminal enterprises, and defiance of societal norms. The outlaw image that George embraced with its scrapes, drugs, and roaring engines contributed to the gang's notorious reputation that echoed through Toronto's streets. George Atkins, the middle-class boy turned Hells Angel, found himself straddling two contrasting worlds, trying to balance the expectations of his past with the newfound freedom and rebellion of his present. Little did he know that this journey would lead him down a path of self-discovery, testing the limits of loyalty and forcing him to confront the consequences of his choices. Detective Emily Parker, a seasoned investigator with a reputation for solving complex cases, found herself at a crime scene. Amid the chaos, she discovered George Atkins, lying unconscious with a bullet wound to the head and blood oozing from George's leg. The atmosphere was thick with tension and mystery, and Emily knew that this case would unravel a web of secrets. Bringing George in for investigation, Emily sensed that there was more to his story than met the eye. As he regained consciousness in the interrogation room, she observed a complexity in his eyes, an intricate blend of defiance, fear, and perhaps a hint of remorse. Determined to uncover the truth, Emily delved into George's past, tracing the footsteps of a man torn between two worlds. She uncovered his rise through the ranks in the security sector, his transition into the Hells Angels, and the challenges he faced straddling the line between law and the outlaw lifestyle. In her pursuit of justice, Emily discovered a vulnerability in George, a crack in the tough exterior he had built. The Hells Angels' loyalty was legendary, but she sensed a conflict within him, a yearning for redemption and a chance at a different life. When the investigation unearthed potential threats to George's life, Emily faced a moral dilemma. Despite his involvement in a world often associated with crime, she saw a person with a story, a man who had lost his way. Emily made a daring move. She saved George from a perilous situation and convinced him to cooperate as an informer. As George teetered on the edge of life and death, Emily extended a lifeline, an opportunity for redemption. The detective and the former Hells Angel embarked on an unconventional alliance, navigating the dangerous waters of the criminal underworld. Emily, fueled by a desire for justice, and George, torn between loyalty and the chance for a fresh start, forged an unlikely partnership. During a critical period spanning 18 months from 2005 to 2007, George Atkins, the once devoted member of the Hells Angels, took a daring step into the realm of justice. Fueled by a complex mix of loyalty, remorse, and the desire for redemption, George made the courageous decision to become a police informer, a move that would alter the course of his life and the fate of his fellow Hells Angels in downtown Toronto. Under the watchful guidance of Detective Emily Parker, George embraced the role of an undercover operative. Wearing a wire and navigating the treacherous waters of the criminal underworld he once called home, he embarked on a mission to gather critical evidence against his fellow gang members. His actions were nothing short of courageous as he infiltrated the notorious Hells Angels motorcycle gang, a brotherhood known for its code of silence and unwavering loyalty. George, torn between conflicting allegiances, walked a precarious tightrope, risking everything to assist law enforcement in their pursuit of justice. The evidence he collected proved instrumental in the convictions of 15 men, the majority facing charges related to drug trafficking, a blow to the criminal infrastructure that had thrived in the heart of Toronto. George's undercover work not only dismantled criminal networks, but also exposed the inner workings of the Hells Angels, shedding light on their illicit activities. The valuable information provided by George played a central role in the legal onslaught against the Hells Angels. Law enforcement, armed with his insights and evidence, executed a series of operations that resulted in a staggering 169 charges laid against 31 individuals directly linked to the Hells Angels in Toronto. These charges spanned a spectrum of criminal activities, including drug trafficking and other illicit enterprises that had long operated in the shadows. The impact of George's cooperation went beyond legal consequences. It struck at the financial heart of the criminal organization. Authorities seized a substantial haul, including $3 million worth of drugs, as well as significant amounts of cash and property acquired through illicit means. The tangible results of these operations not only disrupted the criminal activities of the Hells Angels, but also dealt a severe blow to their financial infrastructure. George's role as an informant became a linchpin in the broader effort to dismantle the criminal networks associated with the Hells Angels. George Atkins lost his battle of life to cancer and died at age 83. He led a life full of difficulties after betraying the club, whose loyalty he had earned at such an early age. After his death, a note was posted on his Facebook account. "If you're reading this message, you'll know that I'm gone. I've asked that this note be posted immediately after my passing. I've lived a long and good life filled with adventure, and I've had the privilege to be part of an amazing club. Although I've had a public persona for decades, I've mostly enjoyed special time with my club brothers, my family, and close friends. Please know that I passed peacefully after a brief battle with cancer, but also know that in the end, I was surrounded by what really matters: my wife, Trisha, as well as my loved ones. Keep your head up high, stay loyal, remain free, and always value honor.